This is Felt Recoil.
All right, welcome to the Felt Recoil podcast. This is kind of a bonus episode. I think we can call it that.
So it's not number 11.
This will be number 11.
It is number 11, but it's a bonus episode.
We want to thank Tom Weathers from Trailblazer Survival School for joining us for episode number 10. But as he left and we sat around, we thought there's actually more we wanted to get to that we didn't cover. We told Tom he'd be in and out. We wouldn't take a lot of his time, and so I don't want to make it 2 hours if we could let him get on his way, and then we'll come back. But FYI, if you go to trailblazersurvival.com and use coupon code FELTRECOIL, you can get $100 off right now for the Bug Out Boot Camp that's happening March 3rd through the 5th. And then this will be Felt Recoil episode number 11, and we'll just talk a little bit as we like to do. I'm just going to ask you, because this is what I can't get. I can't get this through my head. When did we become the society of people? By the way, sorry. Welcome to the Felt Recoil podcast. I'm Kris. My always hetero life mate to my right is
Patrick.
Thank you, sir. It's not a question. It's a cue.
I feel like that's a question, though.
It's not a question. When did we become...
One of these days, I'm going to get it right.
You'll get there. You grow into being super famous, as you are. When did we become the people, by the way, who... It just... the things we say we will do no longer matter. This episode will be titled Kris and the Contractor. That's all I can think. I don't even know if he's a contractor. Let me just tell you how my day started. Can we back up for a minute? So here's the context you need to understand this. Months ago, well before it was even 2017, well before it was even the holidays, my wife, who does web design for money, was hired out to do the web site for a local building company here, who I will graciously allow to remain nameless because they're still working on our house, and the incompetence they have shown so far only suggests that should I name them, they will try to be incompetent, which I can only imagine would result in my house being burned down. They are that bad at their job. Here's the thing. So, all right. So the website's done, and my wife is putting together the invoice, and it's X amount of dollars, and I take full blame. I say, hey, here's an idea. What if you just told them, well, here's how much the website's going to cost you, but we kind of have some reno stuff we'd like done on the back of the house. We have this, it was sold to us as a breakfast room, but we don't use it for that. It's the kids' crafts room. It's basically a mud room.
Is that in the west wing? Or the east?
It is in the central wing of the house. You moron. Obviously. It's right next to the kitchen. That is always in the central wing. Do you not know that? How are we even friends?
I guess not. I don't know.
I don't know why I ever spoke to you in the first place. Except that it should have been to fire you. So
you're going to have to pay me first.
There was this big window, and it looks out over the backyard. And the idea was, let's put some French doors in. Let's build a little stoop, if you will. It's more than that. It's nice. And have it so the kids can come and go right out of that door. Okay? There's no need for coming through the living room anymore. We have a deck off the living room.
So you're turning your former kitchen room into a mud room.
Well, it was a breakfast room. It was a sun room, if you will.
Okay.
Right? It was a big window that looked into a tiled area that's probably, you've seen it. What do you think? It's probably 8 feet deep by 12-ish feet long.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So it's not a huge space, but it's enough for 3 young kids to hang out and paint, and they get crap on the walls and glue on the floor, and we just don't care, right? We can go in there and scrub it later. Not that we ever do, but we could if we wanted to. So we thought, well, let's blow out the wall, let's put in some French doors, and this way we can say to the kids, don't come in and out through the living room, go in and out through your mud room, and they'll go, oh, okay, that makes sense. Sure, absolutely. So I say to her, why not see if instead of the thousands of dollars he owes us for his website, or owes you, I should say, he didn't owe me jack, my wife did it all, why don't you see if he wants to trade labor? And he can quote us on however much it's going to cost to have that done. Well, of course he comes back with some exorbitant amount. Apparently this guy, he built Versailles himself because he charges like $1,000 to put a door in and then thousands of dollars for everything else. It wanted $800 for a mantle. Okay.
In the wrong business.
I was like, you gotta be kidding me. I have learned a lot, by the way, from our mutual friend, who shall also remain nameless, so as to not get dragged into any sort of inner contractor war that I might start here. But this is all proper context for how my day started today. Understand this. Earlier this week, actually mid last week, maybe about this time a week ago, a guy shows up at our house to supposedly, finally, and we were told this would take 3 days, sometime in November, if I'm not mistaken. This will be a 3-day job. We'll be out of your hair. I have learned, by the way, that contractors have big houses.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah, right.
I've never heard the 3-day window before.
You had a bathroom fiasco.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Everyone should know you had a bathroom fiasco where you hired a guy to do your bathroom. And it was terrible.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. You blocked that out. All right. So here's what happens. It's supposed to take 3. None of this is super important except that
Do you think they all say that? I had a cop one
it's gonna
time
take
tell
3
me.
days?
I had a cop one time tell me that every time he pulls somebody over for a DUI, ask them how many drinks they've had. They always say 2 beers.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah.
It's always 2 beers. It doesn't matter if they literally had 1 beer or they've had 30.
Well, what are you going to do?
beers.
Are you going to say 30? Like, if you've been pulled over and you're pretty drunk, you're probably just going to try and get out of it, right? Like, who's the guy that goes, I got to tell you, man, it's probably like 7.
But I'm wondering if you're like, yeah, we're going to need to, just knock down every wall in the house and start over. And they go, yeah, 3 days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is that just a contractor thing?
Here's what I'm learning. What I learned that I will share with you, that's your life lesson to take from this, is if you have a remod done of any sort, you put in your contract that you'll pay 50% up front, and then for every week they go over the date they say that it'll be done, it's 5% off total cost. So to put that in perspective, if you're paying $5,000 for a job and they say we'll be done by day X, well, for every 7 days over day X, you get to take $250 off the remaining $2,500 you owe.
Quick question.
Yep.
Where were you in June of last year?
I didn't know this. This is from our mutual friend that I've been kind of venting to about this. He goes, yeah, listen, you guys, you got to do this in the future. I didn't know that. It's very smart. But again, when you're doing it on trade, it seems this guy at least feels free to treat you, as my wife quoted, a second-class citizen, where he says he'll do something and then maybe he does or maybe he doesn't. So back up to last week, we're told the tile guy is coming to finish 10 feet of tile. 10 feet. Well, he shows up, and he looks at the floor, and he goes, this is great. This is wonderful.
10 square feet or 10 linear feet?
It took me 10 paces to measure. No, listen. They ripped up, imagine a standard piece of tile. Okay, what is it, about 8 inches by 8 by 8 maybe on a standard piece of tile?
But I'm saying, are you...
So wait, cut that in half, right?
Okay.
And then take 10 paces from one wall to the next, and that's what they had to lay down.
Literally 10 pieces of tile.
10 half pieces of tile in a straight line against the wall. I'm not kidding. I could post a picture at Felt Recoil Show Facebook page.
You won't do it
if you want. Yeah, sure I will. Actually, you should be seeing it now. I'm going to attach it to the episode. You will see the picture I took on my phone of the madness that is what should have been a simple job. So the tile guy shows up and he looks at the floor and he goes, "Where's the grout?" And I'm like, "What do you mean, where's the grout? You're the tile guy. You bring the grout." "Oh, I was told you already had the grout." "Why would I have the grout?" "I just was told you had the grout. You'd match the color."
I don't know what... I've never been through this. I don't know what you're saying to me right now.
I know. So I go, I don't know what you're talking about, dude. So that guy leaves, okay? He wants to hang out and talk about my last name and how we might know somebody because I have a last name he's heard of before. And I'm on my way to work at the time.
He is getting paid by the hour.
That's exactly what I've heard is the problem, by the way. Make sure that these guys aren't paid by the hour. They should be paid by the job. Anyway, so that guy leaves, and I go, "Well, what was that about?" My wife's like, "I don't know. I thought he was coming to do tile." "Well, you didn't come to do tile because apparently we didn't buy the grout." Like, in what world does that operate where, "Oh, yeah, we'll come do that. Oh, you're going to pay us to lay some tile? Sure, just buy the tile, buy the grout, and we'll come do it." Wait, what? No, I'm not paying you just for labor. This is a job I need you to do. we did buy the tile. Just for the record, we had to go buy the tile because they apparently, quote unquote, couldn't find one that matched. My wife was able to do it. My wife, who does web design for a living, was somehow able to hunt down and find the tile store that carried the tile we needed. Who knows?
Well, if the web design thing doesn't work out for her, she's got a promising future then.
I told her, you need to be a contractor because apparently there's a lot of money in doing jack squat all the time. So listen, this is what it leads to. I want to tell you about my day today. That's where I'm trying to go. Tile guy can't do it. He leaves. Janky tile guy comes a few days later, and he lays the tile, and he's like, "Yep, we'll have to come back later, and we'll do the grout, and then we'll get everything squared away." Okay. Now, you should know that no one has communicated anything to us throughout this process. Okay, the guy who was overseeing this hasn't told us anything.
Again, foreign concept to me.
Again, Patrick had a bad experience with a bathroom remodel. I get it. So I'm sitting on my couch this morning, and I'm checking emails before I head into work. I tend to work about 11 o'clock in the morning till about 8 o'clock at night. I like for that to be my work schedule. It usually works out better. And my mom was coming to watch the kids. I had asked her to be here at 9:15 so I could be at work at 10 because we had an event happening today. And at 8:45, my doorbell rang. And I go, well, that's weird. Mom doesn't read the doorbell. She just comes in. She has a key. She just walks in. So I go, well, this is probably going to be an experience. And I hop up and I go to the door. And I want to be very, very, very clear about something. The gentleman in this story was as nice and as genuine as it gets, okay? I open the door, and there's a Hispanic man standing on my stoop with a backwards hat and an old brown corduroy jacket covered in paint. And I said, "Hey." And he goes, "Hey." And I pushed the glass door open. I said, "How can I help you this morning?" He goes, and it's all in broken English, but I'm not gonna be disrespectful to him in that means. But he goes, "Yeah, I'm here to paint." And I go, "Oh, are we doing that today?" And he says, "Yes." And I said, "Okay," because they had told us they couldn't paint until the tile was done. No, I'm here to paint. So we walk into the mudroom, and I kid you not, on my life, he goes, "You have the paint?" I go, "What?" And he goes, "They said you had the paint." I said, "Partner, I don't want you to take this the wrong way."
Seems like a recurring theme.
Right. I said, the guy that is heading this thing up has been so incompetent and unable to communicate anything with anyone. So the frustration you're about to hear in my voice is not at you. I want to be very clear with that. And he just looks at me with a bit of a blank stare, and he goes, "Okay." And I said, "But the one thing I want you to understand is that I don't have the paint, and no one has communicated with me that I'm supposed to have the paint." Let me put this in perspective for you. Part of the deal was I went to this fella's house and did photography of his home for him as part of the deal. Okay? Just imagine if I showed up and I was like, "Hey, man, yeah, I'm here to do pictures of your house." He's like, "Great. We cleaned everything up. We're ready for you." And I'm like, "Cool. So, where's the camera?" He'd be like, "What do you mean, where's the camera? You're here to do the photography." And I'd say, Yeah, where's the camera?" He would think, "What the heck is wrong with you? What mental incapacity do you have? Were you struck in the head with a baseball bat?" Yet he's okay with sending people to my house and going, "Where's the grout? Where's the paint? Look, where's the hammer and nails? Where's, every other tool I need to do my job that you've already paid for me to do, by the way?" So I'm standing there. Here's where it gets really good. This is really the crux of the story. So I'm standing looking at this, again, very nice Hispanic man, and he's in my home at this point. He's come inside, and I want to be very, very clear that I have no issue with him. None. Except I think he was here illegally, and that's where this is going. So I say to him, "I don't have any paint. I don't know what you're talking about. Your boss and my wife have decided what will be what here. So you need to call your boss so he can call my wife, and then apparently she can take time out of her day to once again repeat herself as to what's supposed to be done." And again, I was very clear with him. I'm not irritated with you, but your boss is as incompetent as I've ever dealt with. I don't know how you survive doing business this way, but he apparently does really good business. Again, not just trying to blast the guy. I'm just venting some frustration here because this is how my day started with a stranger I've never met before ringing my doorbell at 8:45. Okay? You got 3 kids you're trying to juggle in the morning, trying to respond to emails for work, And here's a guy going, I'm here to paint. Where's the paint? What do you mean, where's the paint? You're the painter. You bring the paint. It's part of what you get paid to do. Yes.
Can I don't want to, I mean, you're pretty wound up right now. And this might make it worse.
Right.
The only question I have is, did he bring a paintbrush?
Well, yeah, he did have a bag of tools. The only thing he was missing was the paint. Something you should know is that I'm looking around. So when you open my front door, it's pretty common, I think, with most front doors. When you open the front door to my house, then there's a glass door. You've got about 3 or 4 brick steps that come up to a stoop that's surrounded by wrought iron, basically. And so I'm standing out there talking to him in the beginning of all this, and I'm looking around for a car or a van or anything, and I don't see it. So it's a bit of a red flag at the beginning that there's just some random dude there, no car in my driveway, no car out front of it, and I can see down my entire street all the way up to the cul-de-sac, and I'm going, how'd this dude get here? So he comes in, there's no paint, and he says to me, well, I don't really know what to do. My wife dropped me off here. I don't drive. I don't have a driver's license. And I go, I don't blame you. It's kind of who would want to drive in this mess? Like I'm trying to make jokes with him, make casual conversation. And I go, yeah, well,
I bet those fell flat.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to drive in this mess either. And he looks at me, and I kid you not, on my life, he goes, well, I've been caught 5 times, and it's just not worth the hassle. And then we're standing there, and it gets totally awkward because I'm thinking in my head, you mean caught here illegally? Or caught driving without a license? What exactly are we talking about right now? But I'm not going to ask the guy. I don't want to embarrass him because listen to me, and I mean this sincerely. I make a lot of jokes about Hispanics being here illegally because, by the way, 60% of the Hispanics in South Carolina are here illegally. That's a fact you cannot argue. 60% of them. So flip a coin, and you're most likely right that person you're talking to is illegal.
Also, side note, I like to say that you're racist a lot.
You do. But
it's not really true.
But
it sure is fun for me.
Very, very clear that I had no objection to this man, even with what I think was a blatant admission on his part that he was in the country illegally. That made me so much more furious with this jackass that can't get the job done at our house. Like, because then I'm standing there, I'm going, first of all, the 2 white guys that showed up the first time, this is the day this started. We knew they were actually coming this time. I should be very clear, by the way, that we had no clue this guy was coming to the house today. Nobody knew.
Surprise.
He just showed up. Absolutely. So I'm texting my wife today, and I'm going, do you know they were coming to paint? She goes, no, nobody told me. Here's what would happen had I known. I would have packed the 3 kids up, taken them to my mom's house, come back, let them all into the house, and gone to work. No problem. I don't care if you're black, white, Asian, Hispanic, whatever, but if I don't know you, you're not welcome in my home without me there with all of my kids there. That's not like weird. That's normal, correct? So back up.
Again, I don't know what you're talking about. I've never experienced anything similar ever in my life.
I just want to say as well that on day 1 when the 2 white guys showed up, who were as nice as could be to do the job, they had no clue what they were doing. And I mean, literally said to me, so what are we doing? And I went, I'm pretty sure you're putting French doors in.
I'm starting to sound like a broken record, but again, I don't know what you're talking about, Chris. I have never experienced anyone that showed up and didn't know what to do.
Okay, so here's the big... So, all right, that was the way I started my day. It's been incompetent interaction after incompetent interaction after incompetent interaction. I feel taken advantage of because his job's done. We did the job for him. The website's complete. The photography's done. The videography, everything we did for him is complete. Okay?
You want me to show your wife where the delete key is?
I'm not kidding you. I told her to take that dude's website offline, and that is honest to God fact. I said, you rip his website offline, and then you send him an email and say, when our job's done, your job will be done. The day it's completed and everything's painted and the tile's grouted and we're not buying supplies for your people anymore, your website goes back up.
I bet that'd speed the operation up.
I'm going to tell you something. God blessed me with a woman that's better than I am, because I'm telling you right now, I was like, I would rip it offline. I'd tell him to take a hike. I'm so fed up with dealing with him. And you know what's funny? Let me tell you something. You hear how frustrated I am? God forgive me, because I haven't had to deal with it the way she has. She's the one on the phone with this guy, and so she's having to be nice to him, and I get to come and vent on this forum and say, I'd love to see him in person so I could say, what is wrong with you? Because my question is this, who's really being fleeced here? Because I'm going to tell you, the guy that was in my house today told me that he was actually supposed to be working in the neighborhood next door, and they pulled him off that job. And I thought, I had an event that was starting today at 10 a.m. I had told the guy that was coming, well, the event started at 11, but I had told the guy, I'll be there at 10, we'll meet, we'll get everything set up, you'll be ready to go by 11, no problem. Had I not had to be there, knowing the name of the company, I would have driven that neighborhood and found his workers, and then I would have knocked on that door, and I would have told the homeowner, count everybody on the site all day long, because I'm telling you right now, you're paying for a guy to be at my house. I guarantee you're being overbilled. That's the only way I can come up with somebody's being fleeced, okay?
No, sir. That does not happen.
Yeah, there is a reason
they don't ever send people on their way home from a job to your house to do work
to finish it
and bill someone else. It does not happen.
Be honest, though. Wait. Pause for a second. So what happened was you had a very similar incident with your bathroom, and they wouldn't finish your bathroom, and you literally had to stop all work with those people and bring in someone who knew what they were doing. Throughout that first half of the incompetence, did you feel like somebody else is on the hook for what's happening here?
Absolutely.
Because guys were randomly showing up. Was it
Yeah.
often a surprise like this or what?
No, but they were often late. So I take off work and then guys show up hours later sometimes.
Is there a world?
And so I assume the only thing I can imagine is they're finishing up something somewhere else, and then on their way to another job they're stopping to do mine.
And somebody else is paying
somebody
for that
else
hour
is on
of
the
work.
hook.
Yeah.
But of course then I'm paying them too. So there's some double dipping going on or something. And again, it's a hunch. It's an assumption. Mm-hmm. I don't know that's really what was going on.
I don't either. I'm just trying to figure it out.
It's a pretty strong hunch. I give them that, so.
But doesn't there have to be a reason there's so much in common? There has to be a reason that we have such similar stories with, by the way, two separate people claiming they'll do the work and both of them being somewhat reputable. And I think, how is it possible that you've already paid in full for someone to do a job, and then they throw you by the wayside?
It's funny to me
the only thing I can come up with.
How any money is actually made that way. Because eventually it seems like you get found out, and the clients are going to fire you. However, again, we have a mutual friend who is wired right, and he knows what he's doing, and he runs a successful business that makes a significant amount of money, I'm sure. And they don't operate that way.
Right.
So it's not to say that they all run that way. It seems like on the residential side, that is the way they operate for the most part.
So our friend shed a little light on it that you might be aware of, and it was something I talked to my wife about today. Apparently, there's two types of contractors. I call them contractors. I don't know what you call these guys. The guy that you say, hey, come do all this to my house, and he sends a bunch of people to do it. Whatever you call that guy, that's the guy I'm talking about. Some of them pay by the hour, and some of them pay by the job. And our friend pays his people by the job. And our friend cut a guy a check for like $7,000 for 1 week's worth of work because he pays by the linear foot. And if you can go out and you can lay 13 linear feet or however it works, then you get paid X amount of dollars per foot. These other guys are paying by the hour, would be my bet. And what they're doing is they're telling people in the neighborhood next door, I'm sending 5 guys out to paint. They're going to get it done today, and you're going to pay this amount. And that person goes, great. But he actually only sends 4, and he sends 1 to my house. And so that person is on the hook for what's happening in my house. He's being paid for work being done at 2 locations by the same person. But technically, realistically, he's being paid twice.
So this
because we already paid him, and now he's pulling off that job.
This is how I figured out everybody's getting paid by the hour on my job. Okay?
All right.
Guys show up. They have the power tools to do what they need to do in regards to some demo work, and they start in on that, and then all of a sudden they don't have the right blade for this saw.
Of course not.
Okay?
Why would you?
So then they have to go to the store, which can't be more than 10 minutes away, to go get this new saw blade.
Yeah.
2.5 hours later, they show up with the friggin' saw blade.
I'm going to tell you, man.
And then they go to work finally. So, I know you got 3 guys on this crew, and they just all clocked basically 3 hours to get something done. Mm-hmm. They could have finished the whole of what they had to do in probably, 30 minutes.
It's the most unbelievable. These guys have these huge houses that you go to, and I can only imagine who actually paid for the materials that went into the house. Probably not those people. Probably the people whose houses they built that look similar. They probably just bought extra parts and charged that person. I mean, from this type of behavior. So I get lost in thinking about how frustrating it really is that you pay these people to do a job and then they just ignore it and don't do the job. I don't know anywhere else where you survive. I don't know anywhere else. And so why is there a common theme? I don't know. But that's how my day started. So now I got this guy in my house, and he's telling me he's been caught 5 times. I'm not really sure what that means. So I text my wife, and I'm like, listen, I feel super sketchy. Like, not because he was a bad guy. Again, he was super, super nice. He was probably one of the nicest guys you'd ever run into. But he just told me he'd been caught 5 times. I don't know what that means. I don't know what he got caught 5 times for. So I'm standing there, and I'm like, okay, man, well, you want to get to work? So he tells me, well, they called, and they'll be here in an hour, and we're going to go buy the paint, but I'm going to prep everything so we can get the room painted. And I said, okay, fine, paint the room, get everything prepped. So my mom shows up, and I'm like, listen, there's a guy in there, he's prepping everything. You know the drill. This is locked. That's not locked. You go here, you do that. Okay. Come home tonight, not a damn thing done. Nothing. Maybe he prepped. He told me he was going to run some caulk, prep some holes. I don't know. Nothing got done. Nothing got done.
Is my surprise face.
I mean, I walked in. Our 4-year-old was still up. It took everything out of him not start just cussing. I'm like, I want to call that guy, but I mean, what can you do? Now he's, now I know. So I feel good to have it off my chest because then I go to work and, work is work. Work is stressful. There's obstacles to overcome, but you've already climbed a mountain in the beginning of your day because you're standing on the stoop with a guy who you think, in all likelihood, is probably here illegally. And he's telling you about his wife's doctor's appointment. You're like, yeah, who's paying for that? Probably me too. Like, it's not enough that I paid for you to come paint and you didn't bring the paint. Now I'm paying for your wife's doctor's appointment, most likely. God help me. What do I do with myself? So anyway, super, super frustrating. And it's just, I feel like it's karma because I was like kind of giving you a hard time about, well, yeah, they told us 3 days and your bathroom's taken 8 months and it's not even done. Well, now here I am. Here I am 6 months later. They haven't done jack squat. That nothing's been done right. I mean, they've gotten the doors on. They built it. Listen, let me just give you, today was a great synopsis of everything that's gone wrong, but let me give you a little backstory that you might find entertaining. These guys built what is essentially, what do you call it? It's so if you walk out of the French doors now, there's another little stoop, maybe 6 by 8 feet, and then there's stairs on the side and there's stairs on the front. Well, initially they put them in, and the stairs, they didn't put stairs on the side. My wife was like, yeah, that's what we said we wanted. And they're like, well, that's gonna be $300. So we canceled the $800 mantle, by the way, thank God. And then the stairs on the front, they run down to the dirt, and the very last stair ended about 4 feet before the deck did. So it's like this awkward, just there's some dirt here, and my wife goes, hey, why didn't we do this? And I'm not kidding. The guy goes, well, we'd have to dig that down and make it level. And Carmen goes, right, so you're gonna dig it down and make it level? He goes, well, that's a lot of work. And she's like, don't care. It was a lot of work to build your website, you jackass. And the dude had to call his guys and go ahead and dig the dirt. They caught us. Dig the dirt. And so that's how I feel. I feel like what's actually happening is he has told his people, if not explicitly, he's at least heavily implied, and I could be way wrong. I might be way wrong. Who knows? But you get the feeling that they were told, cut every corner until you get caught.
Yeah, I think it's
if
fair
they
to
catch
say,
you, do it right. But
it's
otherwise,
fair to say, let's just be as underhanded as possible, right up until the threshold of somebody firing us, and then we snap into action.
Exactly right. So when the 84 Lumber employee showed up today, I was like, I have had my fill of this just nonsense of dealing with a guy that doesn't want to do what he said he would do, and B, doesn't want to follow through on promises that are made. So it kind of leads you to wonder. I feel like people do this in real life too, and here's my reasoning. The whole point in bringing this up is I wonder when we became the type of people who are willing to say something and then not follow through. I think it's social media. I think we've gotten to this point with social media where we're willing to say that, oh, that sounds like a great idea, I'll make that happen, or I like this, or I'll attend this event, and then you just forget about it and you don't do it. You just let it go because, hey, it's just social media. I can say it and forget about it, and I don't have to follow through with anything. Somehow that is translating into who we actually are as human beings. So when you make an agreement, if you build my website, I'll be glad to tear apart your house and put it back together in a specific way. You feel like, well, I wrote an email, no big deal. We'll do whatever we have to do, and if they catch us, maybe we'll make it up, maybe not. But we'll just show up at random times and we won't follow through with anything. When did we become the type of people who are okay with our word not meaning anything? When did we become okay with being the type of people who just say something and then shrug it off later? It's like you have those friends who, when you say, well, we should do this, and they go, yeah, let's do it. And then you go, okay, well, let's do it on March 3rd. Oh, yeah, I'll have to get back to you. And suddenly they can't do it. Suddenly they're not available to do it because they didn't want to do it in the first place. But we lacked the testicular fortitude to just say to somebody's face, hey, man, it's not going to work for me. I mean, this guy, and I don't want to harp on him much longer because I'm totally frustrated and fed up with the whole ordeal. Frustrating day at work yesterday and today. And then on top of that, you got, Joe Hispanic showing up on your front door. Surprise, by the way. You're not even made aware that he's coming. And so you start to feel like, why is everybody okay with being the type of person who says they will do something and not follow through with it? And I truly believe that is what Facebook has done to us. And in somewhat, in the same way that we've become the type of people who say, well, I wouldn't be that type of person, or, I'll do that, and then we don't do it. It kind of, I think, relates to something. I don't know if you'll agree with this, and maybe these guys do good work, and I just don't know about it. All I know them for is for crude and vulgar humor. But the Starbucks ordeal and Black Rifle Coffee Company, here's what you've done wrong. I'm going to talk to Black Rifle Coffee Company for a second. Here's the big mistake you made. You no longer have credibility. None. And you're not a company I would do business with. I'm going to explain to you why. And Patrick, forgive me if you thought we were going to sign some big deal contract with Black Rifle Coffee to be like a major sponsor.
You keep screwing us out of more sponsors.
Look, the whole point is we don't want any money to do this. We want you to give money to the charities we mentioned at the front, and then we'll just keep doing it for fun. Okay?
All right, fine.
So, this is from Breitbart. And look, I love Breitbart. I'm not opposed to Breitbart, but this crap drives me crazy. We're going to set the record straight on something. We're going to talk about how stupid Black Rifle Coffee Company is. All right, from Breitbart.com. As a response to Starbucks choosing to hire 10,000 refugees to protest President Donald Trump's temporary immigration ban, a veteran and now coffee shop owner has an even better idea. Evan Hafer, an Army Special Forces veteran and CEO of Black Rifle Coffee Company. God bless him, right? God bless this guy. He said on Tuesday's Fox and Friends that he plans to hire 10,000 veterans. Stop. Black Rifle Coffee Company couldn't hire 10 veterans today. They're not big enough. They couldn't go hire 10 people and survive. Absolutely could not do it. You know why I know that's true?
I would be surprised if there's actually 10 people that work for him now. And I don't mean that in any sort of disrespectful way. I just don't know that they're that big of a company.
Definitely not 10 people on their marketing team. I mean, it doesn't take a lot of people to come up with sex jokes to name your coffee after, okay? And to an extent, you can get away with it when it's funny. When you're just a juvenile chauvinistic joke of a coffee company, it's okay to be that, and you'll make money. And for the record, by the way, I strongly believe I've done business with Black Rifle Coffee Company because I think they are who produced the abolitionist brand of coffee that supported Operation Underground Railroad.
They may have, yeah.
And
I'm not sure.
I bought several bags. If I'm wrong, it looked like them. It had their feel to it. If I'm wrong and it wasn't them, then forgive me. But I'm pretty sure I've done business with them in the past. And so that's all I'm going to say about it. But the Breitbart article continues. Evan Hafer says, our plan is to build 600 stores. Whoa. Wait. Your plan is to build 600 stores in 6 years. So you haven't done that.
How many stores do they have today?
Oh, they have zero. There's zero Black Rifle Coffee Company coffee shops.
Well, I've
zero.
got plans to build 600 felt recoil stores also.
Right.
And hire 10,000 veterans to work at all 600 of those.
If you will go out and... Let's finish this, and then I'm going to get into that. Yes. So our plan is to build... This is Evan talking from Black Rifle Coffee Company. Our plan is to build 600 stores in the next 6 years. I'm going to try to push this forward with the community behind me. I want you to just imagine... All right, hold on. Before I get into it, let me just finish it. Black Rifle Coffee Company has a more than 50% veteran hiring rate, and it's 2 years of business. So there's 10 employees. Half of them were in the military. Congratulations. Hiring vets is not PR for me, added Hafer on Fox News. It's not PR for me. It's who we are. 50% of the time, it's who you are. 50% of the time, it's who you are. Now,
50% of the time, every time.
So here's the problem Black Rifle Coffee Company still has is that they're dead wrong. They're dead wrong because they're acting on the assumption that Starbucks is hiring 10,000 people within the United States. Actually, just so you know, Starbucks is hiring 10,000 refugees in 75 countries across the world, and if you do simple math, that comes out to about 133 refugees per country around the world. 133. You want to do even more simple math, that's not even 3 refugees per state of the Union. And God knows there's about a dozen Starbucks on every street corner in every state. So it's hardly a drop in the bucket for them to hire 10,000 refugees in 75 countries around the world. But before we get too lost in it, before we get too lost in the fact that Black Rifle Coffee Company isn't even big enough to hire 10,000, and I could tell you right now, hey, listen to me. I'm going to make you this promise. Put me on Fox and Friends. All right, thanks. All right, do I look good? I look great. All right, listen to me. I'm going to get the community behind me. We're going to get Felt Recoil radio show running on 155 terrestrial radio stations. And from this point forward, we will only hire vets. Our pledge to you is for the remainder of the year, every new hire will be a U.S. veteran. Well, yeah, because we haven't hired anybody yet, right? And if the community, as he
Blank
says,
slate, baby,
gets behind me and they let me open 600 stores, then I'll hire 10,000 veterans. It is absolutely a PR ploy that he will not follow through on. Now,
can I just illustrate how I know it's a PR ploy?
Yes.
If you go to their website right now,
yes, sir.
Every single thing on it is sold out.
Oh, really?
Hard to imagine, right?
Is that a refugee coffee blend still on there? Do me a favor, honestly, and don't censor it. Read me some of their coffee blends that they have on Black Rifle Coffee Company. See if we can get ourselves that E one good time.
Okay. Man, my mom is going to be really upset.
Read me a couple. Whatever you come across, I want to hear them because I want to see what this upstanding community veteran hiring coffee company is all about. Tell me more.
They have the AK-47 espresso blend.
Okay, I like that. It's clever.
The Beyond Black coffee blend.
Okay, racist. I like it.
The Just Black coffee blend.
Okay.
Calf coffee blend.
Is there a Barack Obama black coffee blend that comes with cream?
That's racist.
Yes, it is because he was half white.
Blackbeard's Delight.
So they've gotten rid of all the. There was like
they've gotten rid of the vulgarity that they once had.
They literally
as far as I see here.
They had a line of coffee that was an oral sex reference.
They did.
Yeah,
and that one
can't do that if you're gonna go on Fox News. By the way,
I'm looking for it, but I don't see it.
So listen. It's not just these guys. I'm picking on them a little bit because they've gotten the most publicity. You got that bozo pastor guy out of Texas, Greg Locke, and he's on there going, I only drink Dunkin' Donuts. Who cares? Who cares that you only drink Dunkin' Donuts? Stop trying to exploit something for your gain when you don't even have the facts right. So, for Black Rifle Coffee Company...
This just goes to prove you don't have to have the facts right, though.
You're exactly right. So what do actual veterans think of what's happening here? Not just the veteran trying to start himself a coffee franchise, not that one guy who's looking for publicity out of this, but the people who've actually benefited from Starbucks, who, by the way, about 5 years ago, made a pledge to hire 10,000 U.S. veterans. Wait, did you understand that correctly?
I've had that conversation with about 6 or 7 people since last week's show, and not a single one of them was aware of that because they're believing the hype as it is told from the mainstream media. So they're buying into this notion that Starbucks is, I guess you'd say, anti-veteran,
yep,
and pro-refugee,
right?
Period.
Well, yeah, and that's exactly right. They feel like there's this righteous indignation involved in what they're doing. But the problem is, it is a fabricated, superficial cause. There's nothing there. It's hollow. So here is a statement from Seattle via Starbucks, November 9th. You ready for it? Hold tight here. This is going to blow your mind. November 9th, 2015. 2015. Starbucks Corporation, NASDAQ SBUCKS with an X, today announced a significant hiring milestone and investments to further bridge the gap between the military and civilians, since only 12% of the U.S. public understands the service and sacrifice of the 1% who have served. This is from Starbucks, not Black Rifle Coffee Company didn't come up with this. This is Starbucks. Starbucks has hired more than 5,500 veterans and military spouses, surpassing the halfway mark to reaching its commitment made in 2013 to hire 10,000 by 2018. Additionally, to better address the needs of partners, employees, who are active duty or reservists in the U.S. Armed Forces or National Guard, Starbucks announced a new pay for service benefit, which will cover up to 80 hours of pay each year for service obligations. Starbucks already offers a tuition-free education to eligible U.S. employees through the Starbucks College Achievement Plan. Also announced today, it's providing partners, employees, when I say partners, that's what Starbucks calls its employees, who are current or former members of the U.S. Armed Forces with an additional tuition-free education to extend to a spouse or child. Hey, Black Rifle Coffee Company, suck it. That's essentially what Starbucks should release tomorrow. You cannot be the Greg Locks and Black Rifle Coffee Companies of the world. You cannot be those people because you react in this moment of, you know what? Wait a second. What's everybody saying? It's a populist notion, right? It's this majority tyranny that we all worry about. It's the reason the Electoral College exists, is so that people like Greg Locke and Black Rifle Coffee Company, when they get their panties in a wad about something that's absolutely not even true, okay? It's so similar. If you remember, we're arguing against the blind, what's the word I'm looking for? Integration, I guess. We're arguing against the blind integration of these refugees from countries that literally will drag a woman out of a mosque, stone her, beat her, set her on fire, run her over by a car, all because of a rumor that turned out to not be true. When we're arguing against those people, how dare we be just like those people? There's no difference between your superficial, shallow reaction to something that's not even true when Starbucks says we'll hire 10,000 refugees around the world in 75 countries, and you go, well, how dare they at their shop in Kazakhstan hire 13 Syrian refugees. They should hire U.S. veterans, but they already have. You look like an idiot. And that means that from this point forward, Pastor Greg Locke has zero credibility and Black Rifle Coffee Company have zero credibility. How could you ever do business with either one of them when they have been so wrong on such a major issue? How could it possibly happen? How could you feel? Here's the thing. I work in a gun store. I've said that before. And I remember standing next to, we had a jackass that worked there for way too long. And I was standing next to him, and thank God he finally left. And these people walked in with Starbucks cups, and he said to them, "How you going to drink Starbucks in a gun store?" I can't, wait, hold on. He had a real nasally. "Hey, how you going to drink Starbucks in a gun store?" Something like that, I don't know. And the guy goes, "Well, what do you mean?" And he goes, "Starbucks hates guns." And it's real awkward. It's very embarrassing for this group of 4 people. And the guy goes, I didn't know that. And he goes, "Yeah, they hate guns. They're very anti-Second Amendment." I said, actually, they're not at all. Because what happened was a group of idiots walked into a Starbucks in Washington and had their rifles slung forward, and the manager told them to leave. And they wouldn't leave. And so Starbucks said, "You cannot open carry. We're just asking you to leave your guns in your car. Stop." He's talking about veterans, right? Who would be the least favorable of a bunch of strangers walking with rifles slung forward into any location and acting like that? So did you see the Dearborn, Michigan police video? Did you see that?
I don't think so.
So in Dearborn, Michigan, this bozo decides that what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk into the police station and open carry with my rifle. Now, I know you think that's a joke. There might be a couple of curse words in here. But listen, here's what you have to know, by the way. This guy has most of his face covered. Not YouTube, what are those called? GoPro, which is the worst product in the world, off his left shoulder, and a rifle slung forward, which, if you don't know, is an offensive position. You don't sling your rifle forward just to hang out, right? If you're just hanging out, put it on your back. Sling it to the rear.
I mean, I feel like if you're in Dearborn, that's probably okay.
Okay, Muslim capital USA, I get it. But this idiot...
So he's got his face covered. So
his name's James Baker, by the way. We know how that goes. I mean, I guess his televangelist career starts in a minute. But he's going to open carry into a police station with his face covered and a rifle slung forward.
Outside Dearborn Police Station, we're going to go in and file a complaint because we were illegally pulled over about an hour ago.
I hope you get
Isn't
shot.
that right, Brandon?
That's 100% accurate.
So here they go. They're going to walk into the police station.
We felt a little afraid for our lives when we were pulled over, so...
Let's just stop for a second. This idiot has the SIG brace on his gun, okay?
of course he does.
So he's got the AR pistol with the SIG brace. Just let that put him in the echelon of where you put gun owners. There's the guy that buys the Wilson Combat because he understands what a Wilson Combat is. Then there's the guy that buys the Kel-Tec because he needs a cheap gun. And just below him is the guy with the SIG brace.
I figure we better protect ourselves.
Oh, yeah. Man, you better. They're about to open the door and enter the real world. By the way, his companion also has his face covered. Now they're walking around the lobby. They've been in the lobby for about 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5 seconds.
Dude, put that on the ground! Put it on the ground! Put it on the ground! I'm not talking. Put it on the ground now! Put it on the ground or you are dead! Listen. I will shoot you! I will put a round in you, sir! Put that rifle on the ground! Take it off your neck! I will take it off. Take it off your neck! Take it off your neck! What the hell's the matter with you? Can y'all calm down?
Can y'all calm down?
Barrel down, set it down, step back. You're carrying a sidearm as well.
I mean, all right. So I'm going to walk gun slung forward into a police station and ask the cops to calm down.
I don't know what... So they're in Michigan. I don't know what the rules are in Michigan, but I know you can't take a firearm into...
Hold on 1 second. Hold on.
A public...
I have Michigan's law right here. Look,
Kris, that's just a...
This is... Hold on. This is Michigan Code 88 SC 5-7. Don't be an idiot. So I definitely think they're breaking the law.
That's just a legal pad that you had on the desk.
Oh, that's true.
In South Carolina, you can't carry a gun into a courthouse or
Any government
building,
Right.
courthouse, police station, anything like that. I would imagine, and again, speculation because I don't know their laws. I've never been to Michigan in my entire life.
That's good.
I'm trying to keep it that way.
It's a good thing.
But I would think you couldn't take something like that in there. If anybody knows, please reach out to us and let us know.
Nope.
Because I would be stunned to learn that you're allowed to take a rifle into a police station in Michigan.
So these guys at this point are on par with Black Rifle Coffee Company. You can't do business with James Baker of the Dearborn, Michigan Open Carry Society or whatever he's from. I made that up for the record. But you can't do business with him
Just his YouTube channel.
just as much as you can't do business with. If you're going to react to something, okay, you cannot be as stupid as Black Rifle Coffee Company or 84 Lumber, right? Because if you're not aware, 84 Lumber had this huge controversy at the Super Bowl. They did a terrible commercial. It was a really bad idea. We'll get to that in just a second. But here's what happens to you. The rest of the community that has their head on straight understands what a failure you are, and they will slowly stop doing business with you. Yes, you'll have a quick uptick in business because there's a lot of people who don't care to know the facts. And so they'll buy Black Rifle Coffee and they'll say, oh, well, they're hiring 10,000 veterans and Starbucks won't do it, which is back to my point. That's how we got to the Dearborn thing. It's guys that'll stand in a gun store and get at you for drinking Starbucks, but they don't know. They have no clue what actually happened. Somebody told me. Somebody told me Starbucks hates guns. I don't know that 4 guys walked into a Washington Starbucks with their guns slung forward. And the same guys, by the way, walked into a Ruby Tuesdays doing the same thing and beforehand recorded the fact that they knew they'd get a reaction. Let me just explain something to you. Let's say I'm on vacation and I'm in a state that honors my concealed carry permit from South Carolina. Here's the way I travel. Glock 19 in the waistband with 17 mag inserted and 1 in the pipe, so I have 18 rounds, okay? And then on my other side, I've got 15 rounds inside of a Glock 9 magazine, okay? Or Glock 19 magazine. So I've got about 33 rounds of 9mm ready to defend myself and my family. Hope to never use them. But let's just say we stopped off in the Chili's of Nowhereville, wherever.
Because you want some baby back ribs.
Right. And I know Pam Beasley's not allowed in there. So I go, okay, this is a safe place. Office reference. Nobody? Okay. There's a great episode of The Office where Pam gets banned from Chili's for life. It's really good. All right, anyway. But let's just say that you and your buddies who have had a great time in your mom's basement practicing airsoft come out and you say, well, now we're going to go get a bite to eat, but we're going to sling rifles forward and we're going to walk into the restaurant. I will not be comfortable. I won't be comfortable. And if you get into a confrontation with the manager, I'm going to hopefully just retreat with my family. It's probably what's going to happen, right? But that's me. But if there's a dude sitting there just enjoying some wings by himself and he feels threatened, you could potentially die. Because now you've walked in an offensive way, meaning not like, oh, I'm offended, but you look offensive as if you're bringing the fight. And everybody else is there just trying to enjoy a meal. I kind of think that open carry advocates are to the gun community as the NAACP is to black people. Like, nobody likes them within the community, but they're almost afraid to say it because they don't want to seem like they're really bad-mouthing the community as a whole. People will tell you, well, open carry is legal. Why am I not allowed to do it because it's legal? Well, it's because it's stupid. You don't open carry because it's tactically a bad idea because you'll be shot first by the guy who wants to sneak up and wreak havoc on you. Same way that, well, if I'm black, why should I not like the NAACP? Well, because they're stupid and everything they do hurts your portion of society. You should be against what they do. So anyway, I know that was a lot of nothing, but the point is I'm well beyond this idea of this reactionary what I would call a fabricated, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like all their misery, right? It's okay. Yeah, here we go. It's a fabricated oppression, right? It's like everything I have that's against me.
I'm following you.
I've made up, right? I've made up all these people that are against me. And I don't know a way to get it out except to say that everybody hates me. Except I made it all up in my head, right? So
Seems to be working, though.
you just be very, 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 very careful, because we're at a point in time where the war of ideas is more important than it's ever been before. It's more important than it's ever been before. When I worked at Academy, which was the worst job I could ever have, don't ever work at Academy. It's a terrible place to work. I'm working at Academy, and I remember this old guy worked there. And I was standing next to this guy, Jared, who was a few years younger than me. And Jared, Obama had just gotten elected, I think, for the second time. And Jared said to me, Kris, why do we have the Electoral College? And I was about to explain majority tyranny and an impassioned majority and all that to him. And this guy, Steve, goes, well, they didn't want to count all the votes. So, and I go, that's not true. And Steve goes, ain't true. I got 4 college degrees. And he's all worked up. And I'm like, okay, all right, calm down there, Spike, And it's all like worked up.
But the more college degrees you have, make it more true.
If you've been indoctrinated 4 times and you still work at Academy, I think you've done something wrong. That's all I could come away with. But
$8 an hour, and he's got 4 college degrees.
Right, exactly, right? What are you doing here with your 4 college degrees? You're the fool in this situation. How much was that? 120 grand at least? I mean, at least. If you go to state school, I went to USC Upstate. And that crap was like 40 grand for 4 years of college. Actually, it's even more. It's probably 60 grand for your full 4 years. I was very, very fortunate enough to pay cash for a couple semesters. I still came out with like 30 grand in college debt. It's ridiculous, right? So this dude's got, I mean, he was really old. So maybe it was like
called public school.
Yeah, exactly. He was old, so it's probably like $16 in debt. But I remember when Jared...
$16 Civil War era, though. I mean, that's like 80 grand our money. Come on.
That's real nickel. Yeah. When Jared and I got some time away, I said, Jared, listen to this.
He was using tooth powder.
He bartered his way through college. I got a mule, and I got a toothbrush. Take them both, and I go to school. That was degree number 1. When Jared and I got some time away, I said to him, look, man, I don't know what Steve's all worked up about, but I'm just going to tell you this. It's not about not counting the votes. And I went through explaining to him, it's about the fact that if 10 people live in Wyoming, they shouldn't be governed by the 10,000 that live in California. That's why the Electoral College exists. And Jerry and I had a really good conversation. Why am I bringing that up? Because it's very, very important to understand that at this point, where we are now, if you can't calmly and succinctly explain to someone why your ideas are better, you are losing and you're doing everyone else on your side a disservice. So if you have to get on Fox and Friends and pretend that you're not just trying to sell coffee for Black Rifle Coffee Company, but maybe, and here's the thing, by the way, I didn't hear a timeline, but I think we should all agree that if within 2 years Black Rifle Coffee Company hasn't hired at least 1,000 veterans, we should shut them down. They should have to shut their doors if within 2 years they haven't hired 1,000 U.S. vets, because here's their problem. They took on Starbucks, and Starbucks, just so you know, has actually what's called an armed forces network. And they released a statement saying, we write to you today as representatives of the thousands of veterans and spouses who currently work for Starbucks Coffee to express our gratitude for your business, as well as to address misinformation circulating about the commitment to hire 10,000 refugees around the world. As our armed forces drew down in 2013, veterans at Starbucks asked the company to consider hiring more service members as they transitioned from active duty and sought their first civilian job. We also asked the company to extend this effort to military spouses because we know firsthand that their support made our service possible. In November 2013, I think this is before Black Rifle Coffee Company was even a bad idea at the bottom of some Lead Slingers whiskey. In 2013, Starbucks...
Shots fired.
Yep. Starbucks committed to hire 10,000 veterans and military spouses over the next 5 years. Perhaps more importantly, the boss not only launched this initiative, but inspired the company to become one of the leading corporate veteran advocates and supporters. Howard Schultz and his wife Sherry visited military bases to get to know the nation's service members. They poured substantial personal financial resources into their own family foundation and designed plans for transitioning service members. Blah, blah, blah. On we go. Less than 4 years into the commitment, Starbucks has hired over 8,800 veterans and spouses and counting. Without question, we will reach the 10,000 goal early, and we will keep going. None of it would have been possible without Howard Schultz's very personal commitment. He didn't just authorize the veteran initiative, he led it. It's the same guy who's going to hire 10,000 refugees in 75 countries around the world. And I know Black Rifle Coffee Company would love to sell you some coffee off of the misinformation that 8,800 other veterans are telling you is wrong. But you can't do business with people like that and then consider yourself on the side of right. I just don't see how you get away with it. And I think, again, Black Rifle Coffee Company and people like Greg Locke are doing us all a disservice by being general jackasses and lying to you so that they can better themselves.
I've got a theory. I've got an idea. Maybe we should make some memes to combat their ideas. Since that seems to be the way you get through to people nowadays, right?
Yeah, memes work. Memes work.
We should take the tack soup approach.
I love tack soup.
Take the tack soup approach and just hit them where it hurts.
Start trolling people.
And just start trolling the crap out of them.
I'm on board with that. I'm just not as creative as the guys at Tack Soup.
Man, they're good.
That one, what did you show me today with the paracord bracelet? When I say it ain't no joke, you think it's a game?
He had a cobra buckle on his paracord bracelet that was like as big as his arm.
Yeah, and then it said, "You think making paracord bracelets is a game? Ain't no game." All right, one more thing, and then we'll let you off the hook here. 84 Lumber made a big mistake during the Super Bowl. In fact, reference to our previous conversation about bad contractors, our mutual friend told us that he took multiple phone calls from people canceling their orders with 84 Lumber. If you're not familiar, here's what happened. 84 Lumber aired wait. I gotta be honest. I didn't see the commercial during the Super Bowl. What I did see were the rumbling.
I didn't either, because I would have had to have watched the Super Bowl to see it, and that did not happen.
Yeah, sports isn't really a thing in my house outside of college football. We watch college football because I feel like there's a lot of heart and passion in it, and I enjoy that.
Absolutely.
But everything else I kind of ignore.
Something about once you start playing for millions of dollars that it just seems to not
It just
really
ruins you, huh? It's kind of like, yeah, you can start a small coffee company, and I'll buy it from you. But when you try and make $1 million off of a falsehood, I just don't want to do. You know what I'm saying? All right.
Right.
Just gonna drive that nail home. All right. So anyway, 84 Lumber plays this commercial. I didn't see it during the game, so I can't speak to what it was then. But I did watch the entire 5.5 to 6 minute commercial that they released as some sort of
sounds like more like a mini-series.
It kind of was. It was a mini-series of commercials. It was basically a modern-day Murder, She Wrote, and I really enjoyed it.
I'm more of a Matlock guy myself.
Oh, well, to each his own, Obamacare advocate. Isn't it funny? He still died. He was so happy for Obamacare, and then he died. There's something to be learned.
Get you every time.
Something to be learned there. Terrible human
All right,
being.
and moving along.
Did that guy just make fun of Andy Griffith? Yes, he did.
Special place in hell for you, buddy.
Right? Does he know he's going to meet Satan? So here's the way the commercial goes. A mom and daughter in Mexico. Actually, it doesn't say they're in Mexico. As we've pointed out, it's not Mexico or the Mexicans. It's not the Mexican. I have a huge problem with Mexico as a government. It's not the Mexicans we have an issue with. It's the fact that so many people from so many countries funnel through Mexico, and the Mexican government allows it. But either way, you're kind of given the impression that this mother and daughter are in Mexico. And it shows their harrowing ordeal as they travel. And you don't really know where they're going, but you kind of have this idea of, hey, they're going to illegally cross the border. And then they do. But they get to the border and there's a big wall, just like evil President Trump has promised. And they get to the big wall and they're like, oh man, we can't illegally enter this country. Everyone should feel bad for us. Then they take like 10 paces left. I don't know how this works, but there's like, they literally walk a couple feet to the left. And there's a big, like double door, you know, a couple of big wooden doors that open up. And it says something like, you remember what it said? It said like, anyone, oh man, now I'm butchering it. Basically, anyone here to make a difference is more than welcome. Essentially, 84 Lumber encouraged illegal immigration in the United States.
They have hereby authorized it.
They're like so against any form of rule of law, it's hard to imagine. What was more, so it's a really, really bad idea. I don't know. I can only imagine what the marketing meeting was like where the guy pitched that idea. Because, even more interesting, 84 Lumber actually held a press conference this week and said, we have a statement and we're really sorry for the commercial. Did you hear the press conference?
No, do tell.
It's very interesting. You know what? Well, actually, because I am who I am, I recorded the entire thing. And just listen to this press conference. It's a little weird, but just you tell me what you think here. Again.
I'll hold my comments.
Those are cameras.
Good afternoon. Thank you for coming to our press conference. I'm the chief marketing guy for 84 Lumber. Appreciate you being here. Want to go ahead and address one thing right off the bat. I'm often told I sound a lot like Kris from the Felt Recoil podcast. I guarantee you that's not true.
Doesn't sound like me at all.
It's just a coincidence, but he is very good looking. All right, this is the official statement from 84 Lumber. A lot of controversy about our Super Bowl commercial, which depicted a mother and her child illegally crossing the border into the United States. Not good. Not good for sure. Now, let me read you the official statement, and then I'll take just a couple of quick questions. 84 Lumber believes in diversity. And that is why, when we hired Paco Pancho to head up our Super Bowl ad marketing team, though we couldn't make out a single word he said in his pitch, what we did recognize was that he's Mexican. And even though he doesn't speak a lick of English, if the Obama years taught us anything, it's that everyone should get a job simply based on the color of their skin.
Loretta Lynch.
So, as he raised the brim of his sombrero and wiped the taco sauce from his chin and looked us in the eye and gave that final pitch, we said, run with it, Paco Pancho. Run with it like the border is within reach. And we kind of meant that as an offhanded racist slight, yet he took it rather seriously. So for that, we apologize. And I will now take your questions.
Can you tell me why your company hates America and embraces a total lack of respect for the law?
Thank you for that, guy who happens to sound like Patrick from the Felt Recoil podcast.
No way.
And is definitely just as ugly.
Wait
That's
a
a great
minute.
question. It's a valid question. I don't have an answer because it's absolutely right. We hate America. We have no regard for the law, which is weird because we keep fences up around our company and we lock our product down at night, which I think makes us hypocrites. But no real answer, but thank you for the question.
That's intriguing, man, because that guy does sound a little bit like me. Not a whole lot, but a little bit.
I should look into that.
I think that reporter who sounded like you definitely sound like a CNN kind of guy. Definitely. All right. I feel much better, actually. I know you may not think that. Like, I'm like, Kris is an angry guy. But I'm glad to just sit here and get it all off my chest. Even if nobody ever listens, it's just so therapeutic to say exactly how you feel about things sometimes. So, I'm...
It's really therapeutic for me to be able to continue to call you racist.
I understand. I think I understand.
I used to call you an idiot all the time, but this racist thing is really working out. It's got legs.
I'll tell you what, I don't hide either one of them.
They might be related.
All right, Facebook.com/FeltRecoil Show. Give us a like there if you don't mind. Also, you can find us on YouTube and follow the vlog, where this week Patrick shoots clays with a KSG.
Heck yeah.
Can I get clarification? You posted something and said you got dogged a little bit about that in the episode.
I wasn't talking about the clays.
Oh, okay. What were you talking about?
I was talking about the par drill.
You get oh, because of the Travis Haley reference.
Yeah.
Ah, understood. Okay. Now I'm with you. I thought you thought I was making funny about the clays, but I thought the clay thing was great.
Nah, I slayed them.
Yeah, did a good job. But I do tell the backstory about why you might hear us sometimes. I reference like a sub 1, make fun of Patrick. It all comes down to like 3/100ths of a second that I have ridden for almost 2 years now. Almost 2 years now. It's the only time that let me just ask you a question. Let's just say I can't really think of anything to compare it to. Well, let's just say that the President of the United States comes to you and he goes, hey, which one of you has an idea to save the country? And I go, I do. And you go, I do too. And then you pitch yours and I pitch mine. He takes mine. I mean, I'm going to ride that forever, right? Remember that time I saved the country? Well, that's very much like being in a Travis Haley class with Travis Haley running the time clock on you. And you go, let's see who can be quicker. And then you happen to be quicker. That one time, that's all that mattered. That's all that mattered.
I won't disagree with you.
Okay,
However,
what's that?
my rebuttal is...
A rebuttal is a disagreement. But sure, go ahead.
I was trying to find a nice way to say it.
I'm not going to disagree with you, but I will tell you why you're wrong.
Well, he's figured out my game.
What is it? I'm listening.
So, of that,
yes.
I think... Was I recording that one?
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
Are you about to go into how I didn't record?
So, how many of the drills that I did you record?
Quite a few.
Where are those? Because
I don't remember.
No one seems to have ever seen any of them, which I find a little odd.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's weird. That's weird.
Yeah. So if you could come up with those, maybe look through your phone and see if you got me smoking any of those drills and making you look like an idiot.
Not that I remember. What I do remember is that I have Travis Haley on tape saying I shot faster than you did. So,
'tis true. But in this week's vlog,
you can see it.
I did redeem myself.
You did really good. Well, yeah, and that's true. To be very, very fair and on record as being fair, I could not get back to the 1 second par time. I think like 1:22 or something is where I was hanging around. And then you got up. You're like, yeah, I got this. 1.01. It's pretty impressive. So, super impressive. Lots of fun, but I just got to tell you that, I mean, when it came to the time that counted, you know, when Travis Haley was there, I shot faster.
And Favre and all the haters, I can shoot faster than that. For the record.
You're saying you can shoot faster than Favre?
I didn't say that.
That's
I can shoot faster than my 1.01.
You would fist fight Favre? Is that what you just said?
I'll do it.
You'd get on the mat with Favre?
Let's do it.
No gloves with Favre?
Right.
You would wrap your hand, dip it in glue, and then in broken glass like kickboxer with Favre? You are crazy.
Yes.
But I'm looking forward to it. I'll pay for that. All right, enough is enough. Facebook.com.
Spiraled out of control from the start.
Yeah, I was about to say, it happened about 3 minutes in. If you're still here, God bless you. Facebook.com/FeltRecoil Show. Find us on YouTube as well and Instagram. We're big fans of Instagram. Find us at Felt Recoil Show. And also, please, don't forget, our good friend Tom stopped by, and he's going to teach you how to live in the woods. He's going to teach you how to bug out. Go to trailblazersurvival.com. Tom Weathers is going to give you $100 off his course in March if you will put the coupon code FeltRecoil in when you check out. Felt Recoil Show will be back next week. Don't miss it. Harris is going to be here from H Goose Watches. He's going to tell us what it takes to make an amazing watch. I have a question already for him. I don't understand why. I really don't understand why it matters what type of like crystals and elements are used in my watch. I don't know why that matters, but that's a thing, and I'm going to find out next week.
You're not a very smart man, so it's okay.
True. Okay, we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.